If someone were to ask you your 5 favorite films right now, would you be able to answer? Well, I keep a list memorized for such occasions, and I'll start off with my number 5. Orson Welles' 1941 debut, Citizen Kane. Number 4, neo-noir epic, Chinatown. Number 3, tragic Hollywood drama, Sunset Boulevard. Number 2, Richard Linklater's experimental opus, Waking Life. And finally, the number 1, the 1994 masterpiece, directed under the superb vision of Kevin Smith, Clerks. Now, for many reasons, my number 1 choice prevails to be somewhat controversial, as Kevin Smith is somewhat of a polarizing figure in the film industry. Now, setting aside any previous judgments you might have about the film's creator, or the fact that this is a comedy from the mid-1990s, this truthfully is the greatest film ever created. And to be honest, I didn't always feel this way. Actually, when I first saw the film back in 2012, I felt it didn't really hold up as well as Smith's sophomore release, Mallrats. Now, I was watching Clerks around mid-April or so of this year, and it sent me into this deep obsession in which I watched the film twice a day for 3 weeks. There was a lifelike magic to the film that wasn't first apparent to me, and ultimately I concluded that Clerks was hardly a comedy at all. There are humorous scenes, but all that comedy lies in the gritty depiction of life's strange moments. Kevin Smith manages to say more about the human condition in an hour and a half than anything in film's short lifetime as an art form. The film follows characters Dante Hicks and Randall Graves as they navigate a regular day at the quick-stop convenience store. They talk in such a natural and easy way that you would mistake it as a conversation between friends rather than actors. In one of the more famous scenes from the film, Dante and Randall argue over the best Star Wars film. Dante argues for Empire Strikes Back, while Randall argues for Return of the Jedi. Whether we disagree with them or not doesn't matter. There's something instantly familiar in their speech. Maybe not the subject matter, but the theme. This ridiculous topic between friends that seems really important as an argument within that very moment. There was one such moment where my life mirrored this film so closely that the genius of it all was just too hard to ignore. My friend Lucas Paul and I were arguing over our favorite rap album released in the 1990s. He was arguing for MF Doom's Operation Doomsday, and I was arguing for the Lowen Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. The argument was very serious and lasted about 20 minutes. I mean, both of us essentially just giving complete reviews of these records. And finally, when he was giving his argument, he slurred his words. Just this little certain way. His voice took on an accent. And finally, I stopped him and I said, "Wow, dude, that sounded exactly like Clerks. I think we are Clerks." And then we sat in silence for 5 minutes. Both of us, we took this moment of silence as a recognition in which this film so closely mirrored our own lives, it was disturbing. I watched Clerks so many times because these characters all felt so familiar to me. They were people I knew. Now, Dante states he loves the ending of Empire Strikes Back. Says that's his favorite part, even at one point saying, "It ends on such a down note. I mean, that's what life is, a series of down endings." Dante can certainly relate to what is being portrayed in Empire Strikes Back, and can discuss the film on a higher philosophical level with Randall. While Randall's point that the Death Star was destroyed and there were innocent contractors on board at the time of its destruction, that's not really applicable to his own life, but he certainly finds value in that. This breakdown of the things we love, whether it be Clerks, hip-hop, or Star Wars, it's all fundamentally human. Now, when I used to tell people, such as yourselves, my favorite films of all time, I would start off with my number 1. But it's gotten to the point where I have to start from number 5. And the reason is this. When discussing my favorite films of all time, and it comes up that my favorite movie is Clerks, my opinion seems to be almost entirely dismissed. But why? Is there something that makes Clerks less of a legitimate film than, say, Chinatown or Citizen Kane? Perhaps it's the association of the film with the person it's coming from. 16-year-old kid, likes movies, maybe even knows a thing or two. But his favorite movie is Clerks? Well, I think it's the exact opposite. I think the way that Clerks has affected me as a human being certainly legitimizes the genius and magic of the film, without a doubt. And I think that all of you should watch it, and that The way that Clerks has affected me, and I hope will affect you, certainly legitimizes the film and myself.